Good morning, everyone. Let's study today the meaning and nature of constitutional law. Public law governs the political authority of the state and regulates functions and structures of legislative, executive, and judiciary. It governs relationship between the state and citizen like criminal law, one state organ and another state organ like public administration, which deals with the relationship of, let's say, legislature with executive, relationship between executive and judiciary, and relationship between legislature and judiciary. And it also governs the relationship between the state and other states, like international law. So, public law is actually about the dealing of the state with either other organs of the state or other states or the people. So, at least one party is the state, and therefore it becomes very important to understand the the important concepts of law, to understand the sub branches of public law. So firstly we will look into the sub branches of public law. Public law has various sub branches, most importantly the four ones which are mentioned here. First, constitutional law; second, administrative law; third, criminal law; and fourth, public international law. As I told you, the important concepts of public law would be first, state, and second, rule of law. Now we should understand the features of state. There are four features of state. First, there should be permanent population. The size of the same is not important, and neither the nationality is enough to ensure that there is permanent population. Because the people who have domicile of one state can move to another state, like the people belonging to India can move to the state of United States of America. The second feature is the defined territory. It means that the territory should be limited, it should be identifiable, and it includes land territory, territory underwater, and airspace. So it also covers the area in the air which is just above the land, which is under the territory, under the defined territory of the particular state. Next is sovereignty. Sovereignty means that the state is sovereign, it is independent, and it is supreme in itself. It is not abiding by any other authority. It is not dependent upon the directions of any other authority. It may have certain limitations because of international law, but that is fine because the state is part of the international legal order. Sovereignty also has two aspects. One is external sovereignty and the other is internal sovereignty. When we talk about external sovereignty, the state is sovereign vis-a-vis other states. Like India is sovereign vis-a-vis China, vis-a-vis Myanmar, vis-a-vis USA. And internal sovereignty means that the people are abiding to the instructions given by the state. So there is internal sovereignty, there is no chaos within the state. Next is the capacity to enter into relations with other states. Like India entering into a relationship with USA, India having bilateral agreement with China, or similarly other countries. Now the second aspect of public law is rule of law. Rule of law is very important, and there are some important elements which make rule of law applicable in a country. And these components are firstly, controlling the state power, and the foremost important controlling authority is judicial control of legality of administrative acts. So many a times we see that if there is any issue around the legality of any administrative act, the case is taken to the judiciary and then the higher judiciary decides about the same. Then there are other types of control like checks and balances, like separation of power, where one of the organ of the state is controlling the authority of the other. It's not like interfering with the authority of the other organ, but it is just about checks and balances of the other authority. Second is judicial control of constitutionality of legislation. It ensures that the laws which are made are according to the supreme law of the land, that is constitution. Third is independence of judiciary, which is very important because unless and until the judiciary is independent, it would not be able to provide for a rule of law. Then it may turn into rule of man, which is entirely opposite to the idea of rule of law. Now we will delve upon the constitutional law. The constitutional law is one of the types of public law and it is the law related to constitution. It deals with the legal aspects governing the constitution. Constitutional law, that is the body of rules, doctrines and practices which govern the operation of political communities. In modern times, the most important political community has been the state. Modern constitutional law is the offspring of nationalism as well as of the idea that the state must protect certain fundamental rights of the individual. Sometimes such law originates from the sources outside the state. See, it is very important to understand that the constitutional law is the supreme law of the land and it not only regulates the behavior or the dealings between one organ of the state with the other organ of the state, but it also ensures certain basic rights, certain human rights of the individuals, which is who are there in the particular state at the given point in time, some as citizens, some as individuals. Like right to life is ensured to every person unless and until there is procedure established by law. So it is available to non-citizens as well. Constitutional law governs the constitution of a country, wherein the constitution of a country is the fundamental law of the land, it is the supreme law of the land, and it pertains to the institution of the state and the government of the country. And it also changes as per the changes in the society, nationally, internationally, or globally. So it is very basic of law that as the society changes, the law also changes. So it is true for the constitutional law as well. So as the society changes, whether within the nation or outside the nation, similarly, the constitutional law or the constitution of the land is also supposed to change. And it is not necessary that the constitution should be a written or a single document. It may be a compilation of various documents. Like in India, though it is a same document, but there had been additions to it. There had been certain changes in it. And still, we can say that it is a living organism. It is a living organ. It delineates the power and the responsibility of the organs of the state. It imposes limitations upon them. So it is not only giving power to, let's say, the president or the council of ministers, but it is also giving certain responsibilities, imposing certain responsibilities on the organs of the state. And these powers and these responsibilities are also bound by certain limitations imposed upon them. It regulates the relations between the state and its population. It also embodies and constructs a common national, political, and constitutional identity for the masses it covers. Now we move to the nature of constitutional law. In the broadest sense, a constitution is a body of rules governing the affairs of an organized group. So here the state can be understood as an organized group, and the body of rules which are there in the constitution, they govern the affairs of the state. A parliament, a church congregation, a social club, or a trade union, they may operate under the terms of a formal written document labeled as constitution. Not all of the rules of the organization are in the constitution. Many other rules like bylaws and customs also exist. The same is true for the constitutional law as well. Like some of the methods of interpreting the constitution is not part of the constitution. It has come up through the precedents. Similarly, certain human rights, they have come through the precedents and later on they may have been added to the constitution, let's say Constitution of India. And the example of such addition is the fundamental right to privacy, the fundamental right to education. By definition, the rules spelled out in the Constitution are considered to be basic in the sense that until they are modified according to an appropriate procedure, all other rules must conform to them. Implicit in the concept of a constitution is the idea of a higher law that takes precedence over all other laws. It means that the constitution is the higher law. It is in the hierarchy, it is the highest law which should be abided by any law. Any law in the form of enactment, in the form of delegated legislations like rules, bylaws, regulations, or notifications, orders, or other documents which are binding on the people, which are having force of law. So they have to be in accordance with the constitution. Constitution may be written or unwritten, it may be codified or uncodified, and complex or simple, and they may provide for vastly different patterns of governance. In a constitutional monarchy, for example, the sovereign's powers are circumscribed by the constitution, whereas in an absolute monarchy, the sovereign has unqualified power. So, an example of a constitutional monarchy can be Great Britain. For this PPT, I have taken help of two materials. One is a book written by originally by V.N. Shukla and later on edited by M.P. Singh, and the second is a website called by name of Britannica. This PPT covers certain questions which are very basic about constitutional law. One, what is public law? Second, what is constitutional law? Third, what are the concepts of public law? And fourth, describe the nature of Indian Constitution. Thanks a lot for listening.